Everything changes in a matter of seconds in this league. Literally seconds. But true dynasties, the kind that just completely choke the life out of the National Football League for a decade, those are built in the quiet, grinding, totally unforgiving shadows of the offseason. Welcome back to NFL Nexus. I am so incredibly thrilled you're here today because look, we are completely tearing down and dissecting an offensive revolution. This is a transformation so severe, it could violently shift the entire balance of power in the AFC. The Houston Texans offense is evolving right before our eyes. We're watching them transition from this foundational learning phase, where, let's be honest, they were simply trying to survive the sheer overwhelming complexity of a brand new system, into what looks like a lethal, high-octane execution phase for this 2026 season. And the stakes have absolutely never been higher. But hey, real quick, before we completely pull back the curtain on this deep dive analysis, make sure you subscribe to the channel, hit that like button on this explainer, and definitely drop a comment below with your raw, unfiltered thoughts on Houston's ceiling this year. And listen, if you truly want to support the intensive cinematic breakdowns we do here, please consider supporting the channel by becoming a channel member. You guys are literally the sole reason we can keep delivering this level of intensity and microscopic analysis. All right, let's get to the tape.
So, here is our precise roadmap for today's explainer. We're going to start with the Year 2 leap, move directly into Stroud's system command, then we'll pivot to the perimeter for the slot receiver solution, and finally, we're going to uncover the tight end secret. Let's get right into it.
Section 1, the Year 2 leap, from learning to executing. Now, in the National Football League, the difference between Year 1 and Year 2 in a play caller system, it's basically the difference between reading a foreign language from a dictionary and screaming that language fluently in a hostile, deafening environment. We are looking at offensive coordinator Nick Caley's second year at the helm here, and guys, the contrast is just staggering. Look really closely at the baseline struggles of 2025. They ranked 13th in scoring, 18th in total yards. Their passing offense was, frustratingly middle of the pack. And their rushing efficiency just utterly collapsed. Bottom 10 of the league. And you have to ask why. Well, because they were translating on the fly. Nick Caley openly admitted that they were, quote, teaching the language for the first time. Imagine the sheer mental bandwidth required to just simply line up correctly, process the pre-snap motion, identify the Mike linebacker, decode all the verbiage, and then, on top of all that, react to live bullets from 250-pound edge rushers trying to take your head off. They were totally bogged down. They even had to abandon some of their complex route concepts mid-season just to keep their heads above water. The hesitation was palpable when you watch the film. But the 2026 offseason is a completely different animal. The training wheels have been violently ripped off, the foundation is poured, and Caley has this new quote that should absolutely terrify opposing defensive coordinators. He said, "Things are processing faster. We're a step ahead." Let that sink in. We're a step ahead. The hesitation is gone. They've ruthlessly audited their own tape. They learned from the brutal split-second failures of 2025, and they have completely accelerated the pace of their offensive attack. It is no longer about survival, folks. It's about executing with a violent precision that leaves defenses completely paralyzed before the ball is even snapped.
Moving on to Section 2, Stroud's system command, mastering the language.
So now we're zooming directly into the mind of the franchise itself. CJ Stroud is entering a massively important fourth season, and his absolute mastery of this faster processing system is the central linchpin of this entire operation. Because look, you can have the most brilliant, intricate scheme in the world, right? But if the man actually pulling the trigger doesn't have total, unwavering command, the whole thing immediately shatters under pressure. Listen to this quote from Caley about Stroud. He sees the game really, really well. We get to talk ball, we're highly collaborative. Now, in the high-stakes, ego-driven, fiercely protective world of NFL coaching, a play caller admitting that he and his quarterback are highly collaborative is a massive, rare indicator of absolute trust. Stroud is no longer just running Caley's system, he's actively elevating it. He spent the entire offseason conducting this ruthless self-scout, isolating his own mechanical flaws and completely rewiring his mental processing. They are practically sharing a brain at this point, spending intense, exhausting hours in the film room, dissecting rotating safeties and disguised pressure packages. Stroud's deep collaborative study is allowing him to act as a direct extension of the coaching staff out there on the turf. He sees the game at such an elite macro level that he isn't waiting for the sideline to bail him out of a bad play call. He has ultimate autonomy. He can walk up to the line of scrimmage, diagnose the defensive leverage, audible out of a dead play, and completely rewrite the script in real time. And let me tell you, that is when a quarterback becomes truly unplayable. But here's the thing. Stroud cannot carry this massive burden entirely alone. The front office watched the exact same film we did. They knew they had to fix the glaring, fatal weaknesses of last year. So enter the external upgrades. To cure that anemic bottom 10 rushing efficiency we talked about, they went out and brought in David Montgomery. And make no mistake, this is not just a depth signing. Montgomery's an absolute battering ram. He is specifically designed to shatter light boxes. He brings this violent, punishing, low-pad level running style that breaks tackles and literally forces defensive coordinators to physically respect the box. It creeps those safeties down and boom, suddenly the deep third of the field is wide open for Stroud. And to ensure Stroud actually has the time to launch those deep shots, they aggressively fortify the trenches with multiple new offensive line additions. Plus, crucially, they are further developing Cali's tight end schemes. Remember, Cali cut his teeth with the LA Rams. That's a system that utilizes tight ends to create absolute nightmares for linebackers in coverage and for defensive ends in the run game. These aren't minor cosmetic tweaks, guys. These are foundational reinforcements designed to make this offense entirely bulletproof. They're ensuring that no matter what coverage a defense presents, the Texans have a physical, brutal counterpunch ready to deploy.
All right, Section 3, the slot receiver solution, Jalen Knowles' time.
Let's establish an undisputed fact right away. Nico Collins is the absolute alpha on the boundary. I mean, he demands the double teams, he dictates the safety brackets, but championship rings aren't won strictly on the outside. They are won by exploiting the chaotic bruising traffic right in the middle of the field. And last year, Jalen Noel was practically a ghost in that space. He had a mere 26% offensive snap share, just 26%. As a rookie third-round pick trying to navigate a highly complex, struggling offense, Noel spent his first year primarily watching from the sidelines. It yielded a very modest 26 catches for 292 yards. He actually finished 5th in total snaps in that receiver room. It was a very quiet, unassuming debut. But in the NFL, context is absolutely everything. That 26% was not a ceiling, it was a foundation. Noel was quietly laying the groundwork in the shadows. He was absorbing the playbook, studying defensive leverage, and just waiting for the exact right moment to strike.
And guys, that moment has officially arrived. Christian Kirk's departure from Houston is the ultimate catalyst here. Kirk's exit leaves a massive, gaping void in the slot. We are talking about over 100 potential targets just sitting there, waiting to be claimed by whoever has the grit to go out and take them. The logic here is totally undeniable. Jalen Noel is perfectly positioned to step into that vacuum. He hasn't just been waiting around, he has been physically transforming his body. Noel has noticeably bulked up his frame this offseason, because you have to understand the brutal physical punishment of middle-of-the-field traffic. You are catching the football while a 240-pound linebacker is launching himself directly at your ribs. You need armor, and Noel, he has built that armor. Even more importantly, he has aggressively refined his route running. He's sharper, he's way more explosive in his option routes, and he's operating with a full year of developmental confidence under his belt. He knows exactly how to find the soft spot in zone coverage now, and that slot role is entirely his for the taking.
Now listen to this, being able to be a game changer, being able to make big plays, I think that's what I bring to the Texans. This is not the quote of a backup merely hoping for some rotational reps, right? This is a player actively demanding the spotlight. Noel fully expects to dictate the pace of the game, and what makes his profile truly terrifying for opposing defenses is his specific background. He's embracing this expanded slot role while aggressively demanding to retain his highly dangerous duties as a special teams returner. He has a returner's vision on the field. Think about it. When he catches a quick 5-yard slant in the slot, he doesn't just go down on first contact. He immediately processes the field exactly like a punt return, looking to turn a broken play into a 40-yard, game-breaking explosion. If Noel can become that elite yards-after-catch slot specialist, it provides CJ Stroud with the ultimate safety valve during a season where Houston is absolutely desperate to capitalize on their championship window.
And that brings us to Section 4, the tight end secret, Brevin Jordan's return.
We are now stepping into the darkest, most crowded corner of the entire roster, the tight end room. As we've already established, this positional group is the sheer specialty of offensive coordinator Nick Caley. And this offseason, the front office aggressively overhauled this unit. They drafted premium talent, they signed proven veterans, but hidden beneath all those blockbuster headlines, buried deep within this incredibly congested depth chart, is a story of absolute heartbreak and staggering resilience. Let's trace the devastating timeline of 25-year-old Brevin Jordan. From 2021 to 2023, he was a highly reliable, ascending contributor, 5 total touchdowns. I mean, he was right on the verge of breaking out. And then, darkness. 2024 hits, a brutal, season-ending knee injury. Imagine the grueling hours of rehab, the total isolation from the team. But he fights his way back, clawing for a spot. And then, 2025. The exact same nightmare all over again. A second consecutive season-ending knee injury. Back-to-back IR stints. Now, the psychological weight of that reality, it breaks most men in this league. They just walk away. It's too much. But not Jordan. Here we are in 2026, against all medical odds, and he is back. He is 100% healthy, and he is absolutely making shockwaves in the building during OTAs.
And look, this buzz isn't just some empty media hype cooked up by reporters. It is coming from inside the house. Read this glowing endorsement from Foster Moreau, the veteran tight end the Texans literally just signed. Moreau steps up to the podium and actually says, "I call him the best-kept secret in the National Football League. That guy's got juice." Think about the intense gravity of this moment for a second. This incredibly high praise is coming directly from the man who is actively trying to take his job. Moreau is in awe of Jordan's vertical threat ability. They call it the 9 route. In football terminology, that is a vertical go route straight down the deep seam of the field. When a tight end has the raw, unadulterated speed to effectively run a 9 route, it physically breaks middle-of-the-field closed coverages. It forces the free safety into a totally impossible bind. If Jordan keys into this skill set as a deep threat tight end, stretching the seam to its absolute breaking point, it adds an entirely new, terrifying layer of optionality to Kelly's multiple tight end sets.
But hey, here's the cold, brutal reality of the NFL business. Let's read this room like a grim roll call, okay? You've got Dalton Schultz, the established starter anchored by a massive contract. Marlon Klein, drafted in the 2nd round just months ago, totally securing his roster lock. Foster Moreau, the incoming veteran signing brought in for pure blocking stability. Cade Stover, reliable returning depth. And then there is Brevin Jordan, the rising secret. That is 5 exceptionally talented men, and a 53-man roster that simply cannot hold them all by week 1. A brutal, unforgiving roster crunch is imminent. The tension in that position room right now has got to be suffocating. But the very fact that Jordan is standing out, the fact that he is generating the absolute loudest buzz while literally staring down the barrel of being cut, proves just how immense his potential impact is. If he survives cutdown day and makes this squad, Kylie is going to deploy him as an absolute lethal weapon.
So, we arrive at the ultimate question. We have seen the massive systemic acceleration from year 1 to year 2. We've deeply analyzed Stroud's mental mastery at the line of scrimmage, Noel's imminent physical emergence in the slot, and the terrifying deep threat secret weapon that is Brevin Jordan. So, when the stadium lights finally go on for that massive Monday night season opener on September 14th against the Buffalo Bills, are we looking at the absolute most dangerous year 2 offense in the entire National Football League? I want you to really consider just how violently high the Texans' ceiling can go when they kick off against Buffalo. The potential isn't just exciting, it's truly terrifying. Thank you so much for joining me on this deep dive explainer. Again, you've been watching NFL Nexus. Please make sure you hit that subscribe button, like the video, leave a comment with your raw prediction for September 14th. And if you love this content, support the hard work we do by becoming a channel member. Until next time, keep your eyes on the tape.